like male, females? Are these all males, if you will?
That's a great question. The worker bees are all, they're like a sterile female.
Okay.
Oh my God, he's gonna put.
And then that is a drone. That's a male bee. And they don't have stingers.
That's why you picked that one up.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah. And
That's good.
and so and then the worker bee is a fertile female. So that's basically the three castes of a bee.
So what would happen if the queen didn't make it with this colony or this group or this home or whatever you want to call it?
If she didn't move in,
Yeah.
then I raise queen bees too, and so I could introduce in one of my own queens.
And they would accept her?
I would have to go through a process so that they would
Hey,
accept
what's
her.
that?
If I just threw her in there, they would probably reject her.
Okay.
But I cage her in a cage like that, and then that way she's protected, and I can put her in there and leave her in there for several days, closed up, so that they can get acclimated with each other.
Okay.
And they
It'll be good to go.
What's that one pair doing? See the one with the butt up in the air?
Shaggy.
Kind of off by itself?
One right there.
This one right
Looks
here?
like it's getting buried.
yeah, so that's if you
Talking.
No, it's just
on the
got buried.
back, on the very back section of their abdomen, you might be able to see a white spot,
Yep, okay.
and that's a pheromone gland. And so she's fanning, and the air that she's fanning is dispersing her pheromone, and it's the pheromone that she's dispersing is the come hither pheromone. Essentially, I'm sure there's a Latin name for it or
Yeah,
something
that one
like
just
that.
came and checked her out.
Yep. And if you had been up this close when they were all moving in, there was hundreds of them fanning like that, all away from the entrance of the hive.
Sending
saying,
the message out,
Right.
we found it, come on in.
Come on over here. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And they were all just kind of marching in.
And are they specific bees? I haven't missed that part. There's just specific of those three that have that
yep.
gland?
No,
Workers
just
with
worker
drones
bees have that.
Just
gland.
worker bees, okay.
Yep. Yep.
So how often have you seen this before?
I kind of lost track. You okay?
Yeah.
Okay. If you stand off to the side, they'll be less likely. Because if you notice their line of travel is kind of away.
So he told me he gets sees half a dozen of these this summer.
Oh, they're on that side because that's the shady side, like she said?
No, that's the entrance side.
Oh,
Yeah.
and then there's one on the top.
That's a kind of a vent hole. This is the outer cover, so this is like the roof. That'll go over that.
So do you keep your equipment in the car all the time, or do you grab this from work?
I try to have it ready with me. I actually had emptied out my car yesterday, but I have another thing I do is I set up some boxes kind of around where I have seen swarms before, or I've seen honeybees, as kind of like setting up a birdhouse.
Yep.
And sometimes they'll just kind of, as they're scouting, because I don't know what the numbers are, but I would guess that for every swarm that somebody sees and calls me for, there's probably dozens that end up in a tree somewhere like over there, 30, 40 feet, nobody even notices that they're there.
So how about this colony collapse
They like your
program that's
yard.
going on in this
Right.
country? Has that hit Minnesota yet?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's beekeepers that have experienced that all over the country and around the world too. Yeah, and really commercial beekeeping is very migratory now. So there's very few beekeepers that are keeping their bees in, like a beekeeper like myself. I have 2 bee yards and I have about a dozen colonies in each yard.
Okay.
And I really never move my hives. Like the most I move my hives is when I grab a swarm like this, and someone calls me to remove them out of their soffit.
Okay.
And then I'll move bees. But other than that, like the bees that are at my bee yard stay at that bee yard. But a lot of these commercial operators, in order to make things a little bit more financially viable, they're bringing their hives to Minnesota, North Dakota, a lot of these northern plain states to produce honey crops in the summertime, and then they'll take them down to the south where there's agricultural crops that are grown during the fall,
Flowers
winter
and everything
months.
out down there.
Do pollination, get some money for pollination contracts, truck them out to California, to pollinate crops in the early spring before things are really growing here. And so there's a lot of moving around with these bees.
There, what's better?